This is News 4 Tucson, live at noon.
And we start your afternoon with the breaking news on the search for Nancy Guthrie. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Robbie Reynolds. We have entered day 5 as authorities renewed their search for Guthrie yesterday, and Nancy is the mother of former News 4 Tucson anchor and current co-host of the Today Show, Savannah Guthrie. She was last seen at her home Saturday night in the Catalina foothills. All right, News 4 Tucson is bringing you team coverage this afternoon. John Macaluso is outside Nancy's home and has more on that renewed search. But first, let's head out to Monica Garcia at the Pima County Sheriff's Office, where a press conference just wrapped up here. Monica, tell us what we all learned at that press conference there.
Hi, Robbie. We learned a lot from this press conference. Right now, the biggest message is that they want to hear from Nancy Guthrie. That is the biggest message today, and they do believe she is still alive. Now, the second biggest message they talked about was those ransom notes. If they are legit, there is a 5 p.m. deadline today. If that deadline is not met, there's a talk about a second deadline on Monday at 2 p.m. So it does appear that they are taking these ransom notes, 3 in total, sent to 3 different news outlets, serious. Of course, they do say that all the tips that they receive are taken serious, but they are listening to this one and paying more attention, it does appear. Now, the other big message that came out today was the FBI now offering a $50,000 reward, okay? And let's go back to some of the things that were referenced as we're learning more about those ransom notes. 3 of them all containing the same message, referencing that deadline, again, 5 p.m. and then 2 p.m. on Monday, as well as a monetary demand along with specifics. That's why they're taking it serious, because they say that these specifics made sense to the description of Nancy Guthrie. For example, an Apple Watch and then a floodlight outside the house. So investigators say that's why they returned to the home. That's why there was crime scene tape back up yesterday, that now they have all local law enforcement with that Pima Regional Task Force team involved in this investigation, as well as the FBI. And they obviously reiterated that there are no suspects. They wanted to be clear, there are no suspects at this time, no persons of interest identified. And then they did provide us with a timeline, which we do have on our website, a more specific timeline of the events that unfolded the night that Nancy Guthrie went missing. For example, we know more or less there's about a 45-minute window when we do believe whoever took Nancy Guthrie was possibly inside that house. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the FBI, who they tell us is handling all ransom-related matters. Take a listen.
You still have the time to do the right thing before this becomes a much worse scenario for you. Please return Nancy home. Thank you.
Again, the biggest message from today was that plea. If you do have Nancy Guthrie, the family is willing to speak to you. They did confirm that the last time that they heard from whoever's behind this ransom note was in that ransom note. So if you're watching right now, the message is feel free to reach out to the family. They desperately want to hear from their mother, of course, proof of life. So everything now at this point, they're taking those ransom notes seriously, and that we do have to add and talk about that 5 p.m. deadline, because I know that's what everybody's going to be talking about today. And I did ask if the ransom note went into detail as to what could happen to Nancy Guthrie after that 5 p.m. deadline, and if it's not met. And he said he would not elaborate, but he did say if whoever is watching does happen to see this, the family is ready to talk. Live from PCSD headquarters, Monica Garcia, back to you.